I seen angels cry in the alley and demons pray in the pews. Maybe heaven ain't a place you find, cause the block taught me mercy, the pain taught me grace, and every tear I bury. Didn't judge my scars, not the time I failed, but the way I got this far, cause I've sinned, yeah. But I've also fed the kids, built hope from nothing. Justice never did. If my wings too heavy, let them drag on the ground, cause heaven or hell, I still wear my crown. Oh my God, the music. Maybe that's why we still alive.
Crash out.
This guy says you can make $10 million in 2026 by installing, configuring, and optimizing Claude bots for business right now. Now, the tool name has changed. It's called OpenClaw.ai now, but it's massively trending right now. And what this guy's saying is installing this is super scary for most people. So pick one niche, install it, for example.
It's been a minute since I came back
law
here.
firm, e-commerce, agency, etc. And also help them maintain it. So if something goes wrong or if they want to
where every crack on the wall still know your name,
got a
mama.
monthly retainer or something helping the company out. And the value
I
prop
swear
for
heaven
companies
ain't
to
far.
set up Claudebot or
It's right
OpenClaw
here.
is that they get a 24/7 personalized AI.
I parked where your flowers used to grow. The porch still creep when the wind
This
blows
guy
slow.
says you can make $10 million
Mama,
in
the block still
2026
talk
by
about you. They
installing,
say your boy
configuring,
made it. I hope that's true. The street lights flicker like the
tool name
candle
has
flame.
changed. It's called
Still smell you cooking when it start to rain. The same old gate still lean to the side like the weight of the years it tried to hide. Yeah, I walk the path you sweat every dawn. Now weeds grew tall, but the soul still on. Neighbors wave soft, they remember your laugh, saying she raised a man from the broken half. Everyone to whisper your name in dust, like the city
So I've
never
got
learned
my
how
nice
to lose
trainer
your
top,
trust.
and then we've got the rainbow trousers, my jumper.
Donald Trump is here tonight. Now, I know that he's taken some flack lately, but no one is happy. No one is proud to put this birth certificate matter to rest.
Mama, I swear this block still shine, cause heaven ain't up, it's right here in time. I seen little kids play where I once bled. Same crack curb where I earned street cred. They don't know the ghosts walk here at night. Mama, your love still glowing that light. Remember the pot you used to stove, still sitting by the window, chip patrol. I left this hood with pain and pride, but I come back now just to feel alive.
Right now we're using
These streets taught me how to fight and pray.
within
Taught me how to make
vibe.dev.
that pain
Please analyze
okay.
this
Every
and help
verse I
work
spit
with
got your
search
soul
on the internet.
inside.
Build this
Every
app
stage
entirely.
I rock, you my
Now we're gonna run
God.
it.
And when they ask where heaven might be, I tell them
there
9th
we
Street
go.
raised
So
the
this
God
is
in me.
Movie
Heaven
App.
on 9th Street.
We created after
In the smoke, in the moonlight, your voice so clear. Every corner hum
Hello,
like
I'm
a
recording
Sunday
notes.
hymn. Every breath I take still come from within on 9th Street. No go, no gate, just a porch and a dream you help me create. Mama, I
Image, we
swear
can
this
select,
block
and
still
we're just gonna
shine,
add this
cause
to the prompt
heaven
here.
ain't up,
I
it's
want
right
you
here
to
in
clone
time.
this
That
while
old
I'm
swing
recording. So while I'm
set
recording,
still
just look like the screen.
squeaky
We don't need to
tune.
do any
And I
real-time
swear
voice
I
for
hear
this.
you hum under the moon. The mailbox
Okay,
rusted,
it's
your
done.
name
Let's
half
check
gone,
this
but the
out.
love's still
I can
here.
record
It
my
just
voice.
moved
Speaking.
on.
I have
I
a
touched the
voice note app I
doorknob,
use.
felt your hand.
All
Warm
right,
in the cold
check
like a
this out. We
sacred
have the
brand. You
full
said,
transcript. We
baby,
have the
never
summary. This
chase
is
with
my app.
face.
This is the
Build your
actual
heaven where your
movie app.
roots are
Okay.
laid. So I'm
Now,
standing here
let's set up
in
the
a
back
jacket
end.
and
I
paint,
want
watching
all of this to be
ghosts
stored
of
in
us
the database.
dance
These all
and
the
rain.
applications
The
we put in.
world
I
got
want all of
loud,
these stored
but
in
the
the database.
streets
Everything
stay
goes
pure.
set up this
Your
great.
voice the only sound I'm
Okay, now
sure.
we are setting
And
up
if these
loud.
had an address
Okay,
line and read 9th
Done.
Street.
Let's check this out.
Love
Okay,
divine. I
I'm gonna
met
sign up.
old Miss Rita by the
Here.
fence today. She
Hello,
said your
this
mama
is the
proud
test.
boy
My name is
in
Riley.
every way.
I'm
She still watered them roses at dawn. Said that
Okay,
woman's
let's
spirit
see
never
if
gone.
this
The graffiti
data
on the wall
is
spelled
stored
loyalty.
In the
Funny
database.
how the
Okay,
block
so we
still
have two
royalty.
accounts.
We came
and
from
one
nothing,
meeting
now
that
the
we
city
created.
knows, but I
Account
still miss
testing
them.
session.
Thrift store
Account
clothes.
testing
Mama, I
session. Looking
remember how
good.
you fixed
Now
my tie.
it's time
Said,
to add
baby, you
payments.
can touch the
All we need to
sky.
do is hit
Now
finish
where it
setup.
go, but
It
it
will
don't
automatically
feel
create
real.
you
Cause
every
heaven's still the
project.
place. Your
Our
hands can
users
heal.
allow
They
each
say
user
time
to
move
create
on.
4
I
notes, and
say
then keep their
no.
4 notes
Cause
in their
love don't
database. They
fade.
show a
It just
paywall
changed
instead
the
of
law.
allowing
Heaven
reports
on
when they press
9th
report on
Street.
their note. It should show up this table.
In the smoke, in the moonlight, your voice so
Okay,
clear.
so it's
Every
done.
corner
Let's check
hum
this
like
out.
a Sunday hymn. Every breath I
Hello,
take
my name is
still
Riley.
come from within
Yes, there we go. Subscribe now. Test valid purchase. All we need to do is go to revenuecat.com. The vibes go down automatically. Sit on the integration. You go to our project include.
Watch the stars blink through the
Welcome
city
back,
view.
friends. Today
I
we're
talk
gonna
to the night like it know your name. And somehow, mama, it don't sound the same.
Just
Your laughter echoes through alley turns. Your love still glow where the street light burns. I left as a boy, I returned as a man. But your wisdom's still my master plan. I could buy the world, but I trade it all just to hear your footsteps down that hall. And when my time comes, don't cry for me, cause heaven's address is 9th Street. See,
for loop that runs from 0 to 999.
I guess heaven
Lord
ain't just a
Tyrion.
place you go.
You will be my hand,
It's where
Your
love
Grace.
refused to die.
I don't want it.
and I don't want to
Every
be
crack
king.
on this block,
I don't deserve it.
that's
I
history.
thought I was wise, but I
Scarred.
wasn't. I
That's
thought
memory.
I knew what was right, but I
They ever
didn't.
ask where I found
Choose
peace.
Davos. Choose anyone
I
else.
choose you.
You cannot.
Yes, I can. I'm king.
This man is a criminal. He deserves justice.
He just got it. He's made many terrible mistakes. He's going to spend the rest of his life fixing them. Lord Tyrion.
Yeah,
السيستم لك جديد بجمل
another night, same war. Eyes open. Heartbeat talking to me. Can't sleep. Not here. I hear feet on the pavement, that's the cops on patrol. Another homie disappearing, that's the name on the stone. Mama praying in the kitchen, but her voice getting low. Cause the sirens drawing a hope like a demon in the cold. Street lights flicker like the scared of the dark. And every shadow on the wall look like a threat to my heart. Friends turning to ghosts before they finish their start. We used to dream about the charge, now they dream from afar. I ain't trusting nobody. Paranoia got me wild. If I blink too long, I might get caught in the spot. Seen boys shot dead with their shoes still tied. Ain't no mercy on these blocks where the angels gon' ride. You can't sleep in the hood, man, that price too high. Better stay wide awake and be awake in the sky. I got insomnia, these streets don't let me rest. Every breath feel like someone got a grip on my chest. I sleep too deep to put a hole in my vest. So I stay up, stay cold, stay ready for death. Insomnia, insomnia. Ain't safe, and the dawn ain't promised. I keep a burner by the mattress. Hatred in my teeth, cause the moment that you slack, you get a tag on your feet. Ain't no lullaby louder than the Glock on repeat. Ain't no nightmare worse than the ones on the street. Lost brothers to the metal, lost cousins to the dough. Lost trust in every handshake, every rumor, every quote. They say sleep is for the living, but that line feel like a joke. Cause the ones who try sleeping were the first ones smoke. Fans knocking at the door, boots heavy like thunder. Neighbors peeking through the blinds like they watching the murder. My mind running like it's training for the end of the summer. Every sound in the night feel like they're trying to wonder. I'm tired, but I'm breathing, and that's good enough for now. Ain't no pillow soft enough to let my guard fall down. If the Reaper wanna visit, he gon' need a few rounds. I don't sleep in this hood, I just pace through the town. I got insomnia, these streets don't let me rest. Every breath feel like someone got a grip on my chest. If I sleep too deep to put a hole in my vest. So I stay up, stay cold, stay ready for death. Insomnia, insomnia. These nights ain't safe and the dawn ain't promised. God, I'm trying to find peace, but the darkness keep calling. Every tear on my cheek is a soldier that's falling. If I lay down now, I know the hood will come for me. So I'm praying with my eyes open, waiting for the morning. Yeah, can't close my eyes every time I see the flashback. Homies on the curb with their life in the trash bag. Police hit the block and they searching for a payback. The killer's long gone and the streets never say that. I roam like a phantom with a heart full of static. Where a dream is a luxury and hope feel tragic. Everybody wanna win, but the heart's too habit. You either die as a king or survive as a savage. Gunshots echo like a choir in hell. Bullets singing lullabies I know too well. If I sleep one night, they'll call my farewell. So I fight it every hour like I'm locked in a cell. Till the sunrise breaks, till the wound stop bleeding, till the hood stop taking every soul is spinning, keeping. If I gotta stay away just to keep on breathing, then I'd rather lose sleep than lose the life I'm leading. So I stay away.
Big love like that.
If I sleep tonight, I might sleep forever.
Hey, God. Your
Now it's time to store information in a smarter way. This is
Even
called
shadows fade.
a dictionary. A dictionary stores data as
Even
key
killers pray.
and value pairs. Simple, organized,
187.
Let's start simple.
Code of
We create a
redemption.
dictionary for a student, a name,
My only name left.
and a city.
I spent years in the dark with the blood on my hands. A soldier of the block, bound tight by the lands. Every step I took felt chained to the past. Every face I heard was a ghost that would last. I tried to run fast, but the echo still came. The law, the streets, and my soul are the same. But tonight I stand still, can't dodge no more. If redemption's a door, I'ma walk through for sure. I see the young ones lost, trying to follow my sins. Chasing bullets, not dreams, where the cycle begins. So I break it for them. Let the curse burn in me. I'll be the last blood spill so the next can be free. I'm from blood to blood. I lay my gun down. 187's gone, only love now. Even killers can pray, even fire can fade. Code of redemption is the name I made. From blood to blessing, no chains on me. Sacrifice my soul so the youth can breathe. Even shadows can change, even sinners alive. I'm forgiven in the rain, hear the church bells loud. I remember every mother crying tears in the night. Everybody on the block that was lost to the fight. I was part of that storm. I was fire, I was pain, but even fire turns cold when it's touched by rain. Now the sirens fade slow and my heart beats calm. I ain't reaching for steel, I ain't lifting no arm. I'ma shield them instead, take the weight on my chest. If it's my final act, let it count as my best. They can call me a sinner, they can call me a thug, but I'm leaving behind more than bullets and drugs. I'ma carve a new code, let the world write it clear. Even killers can change when the end is near. Oh, from blood to blessing, I lay my gun down. No 87's gone, only love now. Even killers can pray, even fire can fade. The code of redemption is the name I made. From blood to blessing, no chains on me. Sacrifice my soul so the youth can breathe. Even shadows can change, even sinners allowed. I'm forgiven in the rain, hear the church bells loud. I can't erase the past, but I can stop the cycle.
So today I have the pleasure of talking with Anders
If one
Heilsberg.
life is saved
He's one of the
from my
most
sacrifice,
influential designers of programming languages of our time.
then maybe the
And
code
from Turbo Pascal to Delphi
is
to
finally
C#
broken.
to now TypeScript,
I stood
your
face to
work
face with the judge in the
shapes
street.
how millions of
Both asking for
developers write
blood,
code every
both
single
wanting
day.
receipt.
My first
But instead of
exposure to
revenge,
computing
I just
was
gave them my
probably
hands.
in high
Said the
school.
kids ain't to
And I
blame.
was
Let
fortunate
me
enough
change
to
their
go to high
plans.
school that
Gunfire
offered
in the
students
distance, but I
access to
stepped in the
computer,
way.
and this
Took
is
the
like
bullet for tomorrow so the
late
youth see the day.
70s here.
Felt the weight
This
of
was
the
not a
sins.
common
All
thing.
crashing
And
my
I got
veins.
very
The sky
interested in the
broke open,
programming
watched me
aspect.
clean in the rain.
And
Mama's
then I
voice in my
decided
ear,
when
saying, "Son, you're
8-bit
free."
micros were starting to come out that I wanted to build my own hit computer. Then I started writing a lot of software. And I turned out to be pretty good at it. And so,
I'd say.
and I really enjoyed it. Honestly, you know, I had no problem doing structured programming and assembly. And of course, you have to realize too that I mean, with 64K of memory, there's only so much you can squeeze in, and you gotta leave something over for the user too. And so you can keep it all the way down.
Turbo Pascal kind of revolutionized the developer experience. It kind of speaks to a focus on shortening the developer's experience. And so I do want to hear how much of a deliberate philosophy that was for you from the beginning.
Well, so first of all, the reason people really liked
That's
BASIC
my only
on
name
those
left.
early machines was that shortened cycle, right? I mean, now BASIC is an interpreter, where you just type the code in and then you run it, and it runs. But of course, it doesn't run very fast because you have to pay the price of an interpreter. And the editor was kind of crappy because it was this line-based editor. And when you looked at word processing systems, they were all on-screen editors where you could cursor around and whatever. And it just seemed like a much better way to edit your source code. But this notion that you could just say run and then it would run, that seemed like the right way to do it. And so, but in order to do that and get performance with a compiler, well, you had to generate code first. And so you had to have a fast compiler. I think with Turbo Pascal, it was, we just turned it into, you say run, it immediately compiles into memory. It doesn't actually even touch the disk. And then it just runs the code in memory. And then if there's an error, it just drops you into the editor. The compiler was real primitive. If you knew at what address the error happened, you could sort of try to compile again, and then when the compiler actually got to that address and was writing code, then you'd see where was I in the source code. Well, that's around here is where the error is. Right? And so and you got this incredibly interactive experience. So, and that was pretty revolutionary.
Was it at all like a bad experience for you or a frustrating experience for you, the idea of something taken in after years?
Of course it was. No one likes waiting. You type it, okay, it's like, now I've typed my code, I want to run it. I don't want to sit around and wait for it to run.
Another thing about Turbo Pascal is I think it kind of democratized the programming a little bit by being affordable. I know sometimes we don't start these things thinking they're going to impact an entire generation, but now that you're here and you're thinking back.
There's an interesting story there. So the predecessor of Turbo Pascal was called Poly Pascal. And that was the Pascal compiler that I had developed in our little software company. And then we got in touch with the people who founded Borland. They came back a week or two later and go, this is amazing. We should get together and do a product together and sell it in the US. And then they decided they're going to sell it for $49.95, and I was like, are you nuts? We'll never make any money. In retrospect, it was brilliant, because yes, you charged a tenth as much, but you sold 3 to 4 orders of magnitude more copies, right? And in the end, it was fantastic. So kudos there go to the old Borland founders, for doing that.
Let me ask a question about that brings us closer to Delphi. It also marks kind of like your transition from a solo creator to more of a collaborative team leader.
It's true that in the beginning I was very much a one-man show. Although I would work with 2 or 3 guys at the original Danish Borland office, but obviously that doesn't scale because the capacities and of the machines started to dramatically increase, and expectations were ever increasing. You couldn't do it all yourself. And so I had to learn to become a team player, which I did throughout Turbo Pascal, but in particular with Delphi.
You said learn how to be a team player. What were some things that you needed to learn?
Well, you have to accept that things get done in a different, or that the code doesn't look exactly like you would have liked it to look, right? But still, you don't have enough time to go in and fix it, so to speak. And honestly, fixing it probably wouldn't really change the behavior of the product anyway, right? But I think you also have to learn to hand off responsibility. You can't have a team unless people feel empowered. Empowered in whatever feature area they own, whatever part of the product they're building. So there are lots of things.
How did your experience on kind of Visual J++ at Microsoft, how did that inform the goals for C# and the .NET?
So I came to Microsoft towards the end of '96. And I joined to work as the chief architect of Microsoft's Java development toolset. We just shipped Visual J++ 1, which was basically take the C++ IDE, yank out the C++ compiler, stick in a Java compiler, and call it good. But it wasn't integrated. There was no rapid application development cycle in there at all. So we set out to do that, and that was what became Visual J++ 6.0. Started aligning with the Visual Basic and Visual Studio numbering. I was always sort of like a pragmatist about it. Hey, if we're going to do Java, but for the Microsoft platform, for DOS and Windows, we got to have great interoperability with that environment. But Java was all about this, write once, run everywhere, and then you had to go through only their sanctioned UI interfaces, which was the least common denominator, pretty crappy experience with these applets you could build that weren't really any code, right? We ended up adding some extensions that made native interoperability simpler, and we built a class library of, that encapsulated all the Windows UI, and it was just clearly, this ain't gonna work. I mean, if we're gonna do well by our customers, we gotta do something that allows us to actually build the best possible things you can build for that environment. People really wanted the ease of use of Visual Basic and the power and expressiveness of C++, and so we sort of set out to create that combo, and then put on top of the .NET platform, which was a platform that we could evolve to maximally take advantage the stuff that I that was sort of what it was all about.
You're talking about this competing crowds of customers, but you're also describing a situation with knowing that means you're building for both. That seems like more of an ecosystem looking at things holistically, and I want to understand.
Oh, I think that you have to look at it all very holistically. Users don't care whether this is a language feature or a framework feature or a platform feature or an editor or a debugger or whatever. It's the whole thing is the experience, right? And so it's all got to hang together. And so, yes, we built the runtime, the JIT compiler, the garbage collector, all of that. We designed the bytecode for the platform, and we built the class library. I worked on the class libraries as well as the language, and I worked with the guys that designed the runtime. And I think the result is better for it. You know, otherwise you get these silos, and then everyone like, well, I had this vision of how the problem was going to be solved, and this had another vision, and then I guess we need an interop layer or something or what have you, right?
You made it further than you ever thought you would.
It's the breed anymore. And we also weren't afraid of interoperating with the underlying platform. That was, I think, one of the things that some got wrong with Java, you know, was just like this dogmatic insistence that you couldn't do anything to advantage this platform or that platform. It all had to be this least common denominator stuff, right? And you're never going to get best of breed.
You're thinking back, was there a particular kind of like aha moment for you that made you realize that whatever growing pains for scaling JavaScript or a problem that needs to be solved and that you need to solve it, Microsoft needs to solve it?
Static crack.
Yeah, well, this interesting thing
You still there?
started to happen in the industry where
It's all good.
the runtimes were getting good enough. Like Google has done excellent work on V8, and all of a sudden, you know, Java code actually ran with decent performance. HTML5 had gotten ratified, and there was actually pretty great UI available now. And all of a sudden, there was this multitude of form factors, like phones and iPads and whatever, that didn't run Windows. And the world all of a sudden sort of discovered, you know, the real
These calls
platform
ever reach
game
anyone?
isn't Java. It's actually
Maybe they just bounce
JavaScript
off
and
the
the
sky
browser
and
and
come back to haunt
HTML.
me.
And then they started writing bigger and
You know
bigger
what?
and bigger apps because these new runtimes and UI technologies allowed the apps to get big. But then everyone started discovering how insanely
Kill slower
hard that
than
is to
bullets.
do in a dynamic programming language with no good tooling, right? And so we were seeing the strangest contortions starting to happen. And one in particular that was when the Outlook.com team came to us in .NET and C#, actually in C# land mostly, and asked whether we'd get involved in productizing this thing they had called ScriptSharp. And I'm like, ScriptSharp? What's ScriptSharp? Well, it's this thing that allows you to write in C# and then it translates that into JavaScript, and then that's what you run. And I'm like, well, why on earth would you ever want to do that? That seems to me like the worst of both worlds, right? Well, it turns out the reason you want to do that is then you can get grown-up tools. Then you can actually have a type checker, you can hack a team, you can write interfaces, you can describe how these pieces of the software are going to talk to each other. And that's what we're doing, you know, because we have hundreds, if not thousands of programmers that are going to work on this, and they can't just like write JavaScript and not have something that can check the code, and no tooling and no statement completion, refactoring or any of that stuff, right? And I was like, wow, is JavaScript really that broken, you know, and is that really the best thing we could do to fix it, right? I mean, like tell people to write in a different language and then sort of treat JavaScript as an IR that you, or bytecode that you compile to. Surely we can do better. What could we fix JavaScript? So there were some really interesting things that became possible if you think about it, right? And so then we started exploring that. You know, it worked out pretty well.
The decision to make TypeScript kind of like a strict superset of JavaScript has, you know, had some strategic thinking into it. How did you champion and what advice that
I'm losing my way
allow
back.
you to
Look,
give to
fame
others
come with
about this
power, but it
idea
come with
of
a
meat
threat.
developers
More money,
where
more
they
problems,
are.
more holes
It's
in your
funny
vest.
because
Same
whenever
ones saying,
people
bro, wanna see
come
you
to me and go,
decline.
oh, I
They
have
don't hate you
I'm
struggle,
thinking
they
of
hate
creating
you
this new
survive. I done
programming
seen
language
it up
that's going to
close.
do this
The
and
love
that.
turn fake when your
Fantastic thing.
name
I'm
too
like,
big and you play
my
too
first
straight. Everybody
first
wanna cut,
advice is
everybody want beef.
the
Same
world needs
smile,
another
same
programming language
handshake,
like it needs
same
another
teeth.
holiday.
Fame
Second,
turn
if you
friends and
decide to
finish
do
me quick.
programming language,
Turn family
realize
dinners
that
into
90% of what you're going to do is the same thing that every other programming language. And that percentage just keeps going up. Like the barrier to entry just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right? The expectations of programmers today, it's not enough just to have an IDE. You also have to have a language service that integrates into pretty much every IDE that's out there. Now you also have to have MCP servers that can talk to AI and what have you. You have to have debuggers, you have to have profilers, you have to, I mean, oh my God, the list just goes on and on. And then you gotta like have probably 10 years of time because that's how long it takes for something to actually get a foothold, to get to meaningful usage numbers, right? No one wants a brand new programming language right out of the gate. And so you're going to be starving for the 5 years at least, you know, with not enough users and do we really want to keep funding this? Do we really? It's a tough business, but by extending JavaScript, in a sense, we were saying we're not going to create a whole new language. That's precisely what they were advocating in Sharp, right? It's like, no, we're just going to fix what's broken about it. Our language service in Visual Studio Code, it's the same for TypeScript and JavaScript. So JavaScript to us is just TypeScript without type editing. Or maybe you're using JSDoc annotations instead or whatever, but you know, it's the same investment. So it's not like we're building two different things. We're building one thing, and we're building only exactly what we need to build, right? In order to just make the ecosystem better.
Launching tech open source projects on GitHub, putting that was a radical move.
So I play my position, stay
We're
calm,
playing
stay
at
real.
the time.
I'd say we had a pretty good understanding of how that JavaScript ecosystem functioned and what each of those was and what it required to actually engage with that community. And it was clear to all of us, like abundantly clear that you had to be open source or else people weren't. I mean, there was no way that a closed source commercial product would appeal to that crowd. They would just ignore it. So we advocated for that from the beginning. And I think there was a growing understanding inside Microsoft too that open source was not a cancer and not something that was just going to go away, right? But rather something that we needed to embrace if we wanted to have conversations with developers. So we fought hard to build TypeScript as an open source project. And it was an uphill battle. There were a lot of voices inside Microsoft. There were hand-wringing and you don't know about that and whatever. And we had to pay some toll along the way. You said to release on GitHub. Well, no, we didn't. We released on CodeFlex in 2012, which was Microsoft's not so popular open source competing thingamajiggy. And it was kind of crickets for a couple of years there until in 2014 we decided to move to GitHub. In the CodeFlex days, it was kind of open source in the sense that we would lock the source code out there in this repository and then people could file issues. But really what we would do is we sort of lop it over the fence and then we'd scrape the issues back into the internal bug tracker, and then we run the internal processes on it. So it wasn't really many other reasons, no doubt, right? But I mean, that our trustworthiness and our Microsoft's trustworthiness in open source at that time was not much more right? You got to go with the action. And the action was at GitHub. And so in 2014, we moved to the repository and we started completely engaging on open development where our process was no different from external contributors. Every feature that went into the product was done for pull request, we tracked issues, and so we engaged fully. And it wasn't until then that the project actually started taking off. Started showing
I ain't mad at the world, I'm just allergic to stupid. And everywhere I look, damn, it's allergies. Welcome to my madhouse, we don't do sanity here. Where the voices argue and paranoia.
It's such a win-win. It's first of all, I mean, if you look at the users, the customers, it's an absolute win for them because they see the sauce being made, if you will, right? And they are right there. You know, we're having conversations like how we open about play. It's not like we take their issues and then go do some private process and then come back and we just, no, we decided not to do it. No, the whole discourse is captured right there in the issues, right? But then also for the developers working on the project, it is immensely more satisfying to see the engagement of the community and the appreciation of the community every day, right? It's so cool. Let me upload this and whatever, and you go, this is way more fun than sitting in a room and then like every 6 or 12 months ship a product and hope that it's the right one, right? Here, every day, users vote on which issues they want fixed. All we got to do is sort them by upvotes, and then we have a list of what are the favorite features that the community would like to see, right? And it works really well because then you work on those and then it generates more excitement and more happiness. So it's a lovely process. It really is. I'm a deep believer. Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about the project to port the TypeScript compiler to Go. Can you talk a little bit about the motivations, kind of the trade-offs, the challenges of making that transition?
Yeah. TypeScript from day one was self-hosted, written in itself. And that meant that TypeScript, the compiler, the tool set, everything runs simply as a JavaScript app. Now that has a bunch of advantages. Like heck, you can run a compiler in a browser, you know, and then so you can have an IDE in the browser, you know, with the full compiler and language service and everything just works. But it comes with some drawbacks too, precisely because of this massive adoption and that like ever-growing size of projects that our users build. Scalability has just become the number one issue. And then there's some inherent limitations of JavaScript itself. The language is by design single-threaded and does not give you access to shared memory concurrency. So you'll be with like 90-some% of the compute power on the table, right? And then JavaScript itself is it's an expensive language, you know, to execute. It has a very permissive object model. You just like walk up to an object and start slapping properties on it. And that means it's hard to optimize because this ultimately, when it runs, ends up being some hash table lookup, and there's some caching and there's some whatever, but it's not like native code. So we knew we were leaving money on the table, left and right. And as much as it pained us to give up on self-hosting, I can't say enough good things about our team and about how smart these people are and how well they understand how JavaScript works and how surprising it is what we need to do to optimize. Like sometimes you have to do exactly the opposite of what you think you have to do in order to make this code go a little bit faster because of the way V8 is architected. We had all of the tricks. We had found out and we had applied and whatever, and it was still just we're never gonna get it. So summer 24, started doing some programming. Let's move our scanner and our parser or whatever, because that's very measurable, and we can measure the difference in performance between our existing one and this native one. We quickly realized we could get 10x. Half of it from being in native code, and the other half of it from being able to take advantage of shared memory concurrency. You can't just like ignore 10x. You know what I mean? God damn, that changes everything. That makes things that took minutes instead take 10 seconds. You have to go with it, right? So we started running with it. Now, there were some interesting things that we also knew that we needed to do. We knew that we wanted to port the code. We did not want to start from first principles and build a whole new compiler. Even though huge swaths of the community were, oh, you gotta go rewrite it in Rust and you gotta like start all over. And it's like, well, I don't think so, because we have a pretty huge and very complex type checker that has a whole bunch of behaviors that are not captured anywhere but in the exact semantic behavior of that code. If you don't port it and you build something else, you are forever just going to be chasing this long tail of issues that, well, the old compiler did this and the other one did that, and then you can't reconcile. So we knew that we wanted to port, and literally we wanted function by function the same code, just move to native code. And of course, you have to take your data structures because, like native program languages don't allow you to slap properties on objects or what have you, right? And so we experimented with different languages and fairly quickly had to rule out Rust because, in our compiler, we have nothing but cyclic data structures and we need automatic garbage collection, and then Rust doesn't have these things. And it would have been a rewrite. We experimented with C#, we experimented with a bunch of other stuff. We ended up choosing Go as the language to port to because it is quite similar to JavaScript in many ways. It's worked out really well for us. And we really have a compiler now in native code that functionally is a carbon copy of the old compiler. I mean, like down to the quirks. It has precisely this same issue that you reported there. The new compiler has the same issue also. It has it 10 times faster, but it's the same thing. And that means the community doesn't have to throw it all away. And I think the community will be delighted, when we make the big switch.
Let's move into looking ahead, the future. When you think about AI-assisted coding, what do you think about TypeScript makes it particularly well-suited for AI workflows?
I've had a lot of people ask me, why don't you go design the perfect programming language for AI to target? Do you know what I mean? And I go, well, the perfect programming language for AI to target would be the most horrible programming language for AI to target because there wouldn't be any of it in the training set that the AI is trained on. AI's abilities in a particular writing code in a particular language is directly proportional to how much of that code it has seen, because it is a big regurgitator, if you will, of stuff that someone has done with some extrapolation on top of it. And, well, we know from the data, right, that AI has seen a lot of JavaScript and a lot of Python and a lot of TypeScript, and therefore it's pretty darn good at writing code in those languages. So the best language for AI is the language that AI has seen a lot of, and that means new programming languages are actually disadvantaged in this new universe, right? AI's abilities is changing how we build our products. There's no doubt about that. Like this effort that we have to move our type checker and whatever, we try to use AI to automate the process. That went not so great. I mean, that was also a year ago when AI was less capable than it is now. We want a very deterministic outcome here. We want to port 500,000 lines of code and know that they do exactly what the old lines of code did. If you ask AI to translate them, it might hallucinate a little bit here and there and whatever, and now you got to carefully examine every line of code. And so that's probably not the best way to do these massive ports. It might actually be better to ask AI to generate a program that helps you do the port, because then when you run that program, you get a deterministic outcome where you don't have to go back and look at every line of code. A big portion of our project is this thing called the language service, this thing that lives inside Visual Studio and gives you statement completion, code navigation, refactoring, and all sorts of quick fixes and what have you. And we're like, do we really want to port every bit of that now that AI can do all of these quick fixes and in some cases do it even better? Do you know what I mean? We certainly don't want to do exactly what the old one did, because that was, in a sense, some of that was built 10 years ago when there was no AI at all, right? And now it looks very different. Our type checker, yep, we ported all of that. But the language service, it's actually getting fairly dramatically adapted to this new universe that we live in, where AI is something that you just, okay, fine. AI is going to do a way better job here. Let's not even go.
How do you see AI-powered tools now changes the nature of programming and also for you the nature of language design?
In the ideal world, AI helps us get rid of all of the toils that you have to do when you're coding, right? There's an awful lot of boring stuff that has to happen, and I can exemplify it with this TypeScript port also, right? Like, we have a whole bunch of pull requests that have happened in the old code base whilst we were building the new code base, like hundreds of them, that we need to get moved over. Now, we've actually been using AI fairly successfully to do that, right? Where you don't have to go in and, oh God, because now there's enough body that AI can look at, and AI's gotten good enough that we can automate some of that. I don't even know how many open issues we have like this. into many, many thousands of issues, some of which are very old, right? Do they still reproduce? Well, we can build bots, AI bots that check that, right? And are they still relevant? What kind of upvotes? Blah, blah, blah. Can we ask AI to rank them? Can we like somehow use AI to do a lot of this cleanup, all of this housekeeping that has to happen that we always just defer, because there's just too much and it doesn't matter enough. And so it never gets done. And then eventually it actually becomes the boat anchor that causes someone to whiz right by you, right? It's like this slow death that happens as you drag more and more stuff behind you, right? So we're trying to do more of that with AI. And I think it's a good learning that everyone should do, right? It's like, find the stuff that's boring and uninteresting, but you know still costs you, and try to get AI to do it. There's also some interesting quandaries about if AI replaces junior programmers, how do we ever get senior programmers, right? Or are we just going to bet that AI is going to grow up and become the senior programmer and all programmers are going to go away? I don't think so. It looks to me like we're sort of starting to be on the asymptote there, and then we're starting to see, okay, AI can do an awful lot of stuff, but there are also things that, humans still have to be in the loop there in a supervisory role somehow. Now, exactly how that shakes out, I don't know. I do think we're seeing this sort of narrowing of the pyramid, that there are fewer base level engineers coming in, and we need to figure out how to grow them into these senior programmers.
Let's say you want to look ahead like 5-10 years. In terms of TypeScript, how would you expect it to evolve in this more AI native world?
As a programming language, I think it is fairly well understood how it's going to evolve, because JavaScript is it's not a young language, right? And there's a standardization process that we actively participate in. So TypeScript is going to evolve through the standardization process of JavaScript, and then through us adding whatever type system features are necessary on top of that work. Now, in terms of tooling, though, boy, who the heck knows, right? I mean, who would have thought that all of a sudden with Claude Code, people are, actually CLIs are great for doing a whole bunch of stuff that, what? Wait. I thought IDEs were like the bee's knees, which they are most of the time, right? But there's this whole switch that has happened in AI where AI started out being the assistant, but you were still in control, sitting in the IDE, and it was just aiding you in typing faster and completing stuff faster, right? But now it's switching around. The AI is doing the work, right? And then you're supervising what it's doing. And it doesn't necessarily need an IDE in the same way that we need IDEs, right? It still needs the services, and that's why all of this MCP stuff is becoming interesting, and connecting language services to MCP and giving AI the ability to ask semantic questions or refactoring questions or whatever, and get sort of boxed in determinism around certain workflows, right? But still do sort of the equivalent of what you would do in an IDE, but do it the LLM way, or the agent way. That's going to change development tools dramatically. I don't know where it lands and what the balance is between those longer term, but there's a big shift on the way.
Is there any or misconception around TypeScript or your work on it that you would like to address or correct publicly? Something that you feel that you wanted to be noticed but has been overlooked by the community?
I feel like with open source, we're so close to the community all the time that, if anything is feels wrong or there's friction, or we know about it immediately, right? I mean, this whole switch to native code, and I mean, obviously a lot of people felt like, you should have gone with a different programming language. And at the end of the day, I firmly believe we picked the right tool for the job there. But I think it's proven itself out over the past year and how far we've gotten in that effort. But it was controversial. I mean, open source, it's an odd dance, right? It's like you're giving it all away, yet it's being funded by a commercial entity that obviously has to make money somehow. It's not all through the grace of God, or someone has to pay the bills at the end of the day. And so we're always as a team in that sort of kind of frictional situation of how is this relevant to the mission of the company that we work for, right? And that's true of any sort of open source, practically all open source, right? And I don't know that the community has yet figured out a good model there to reward people for the work they do. Who knows if that's ever going to happen? I hope it does in some ways.
The sustainability of open source, I think, is something that comes up again.
An awful lot of enterprises would not function without proper maintenance of the open source projects that literally run their back ends, right? For a lot of people out there, open source is more take than give, right? But I feel like with Microsoft, we're really trying to do an honest effort there about that. And I mean, there's an awful lot of work that has gone into the TypeScript project. We're talking hundreds of man-years of work in that code. And Visual Studio Code, you're probably in the thousands, right? I mean, these are big projects.
Which programming language, not one that you've created, not your own, do you have respect and admiration for?
Honestly, like any programming language that is relevant to programmers or that even makes it to something that we talk about, obviously has something good in it. And therefore, I respect, because it wouldn't have gotten that far. I know how hard it is to get that far. Languages like Rust, I mean, I think it is very admirable, this effort that they're doing off with the borrow checker and trying to come up with a different way of managing memory that isn't as costly as automatic GC, for example. I have a lot of respect for Go, the language that we're doing, even though it's quirky and many people feel like it's an odd language, it actually is like this sort of notion of a memory safe and type safe C. Very simple language, but with some of these newer advances incorporated into it. The success of Python is how can you not respect that, right? I mean, it runs AI. It runs machine learning. As a language designer too, it's like we all stand on the shoulders of giants. You'd be a fool to create a programming language that doesn't borrow something from other programming languages. Because there's so much learning there, right? You gotta respect it.
When you look at the entire landscape of software development centered around collaborative platforms like GitHub, what makes you optimistic for the future?
The mere fact that it still exists makes me optimistic for the future. Open source was a big experiment, right? I mean, we're talking about no one's really figured out how to fund open source. Yet there it is, and it's bigger than ever, right? And it's not going away, and it just keeps on growing. And there's more and more knowledge and ability that we're capturing in all of this code that's out there. There's a lot of noise too, and a lot of it isn't being maintained and whatever. But still, it's evolution captured. Right there. I know for us, the switch to that workflow, we have 12 years of history, right? Searchable. I know someone talked about it. There was an issue on this somewhere. Let's just find it. It didn't just sort of disappear into some email that I can't find anymore or whatever, right? There's so much value there. And I'm so pleased that it continues to grow and survive.
Well, Anders, thank you very much for sharing all your experience and your reflection and your perspective with us. It was lovely and it was an honor for you to do this interview with you.
Every bullet that missed still hit my chest. Now I'm back, same soul, new code. Heart froze colder than the steel I hold. Back for blood, I don't need no love. Rain keep pouring, but I rise above. Back for blood, they forgot my name. Now they whisper when they speak my pain. Back for blood, I was born in war. You can't kill what's been here before. Back for blood, no tears, just thugs, no peace sign, just middle fingers up. I seen my brother turn snake for the fame. Seen loyalty die when the money came. Now they talk about peace, but they playing the game. I've been silent too long, time to burn that name. These rappers scream real, but they soft online. I seen killers turn fans when the lights align. They pop pills for the pain I live. They buy gold chains for the blood I give. I lost sleep to the sirens hum. Lost faith in the priest I become. Now I'm praying in a room full of guns and smoke, with the Bible on the dash and the promise I broke. Every sin on my list got a body behind. Every smile on my face got a demon inside. Mama said, boy, you were born too cold. Guess the fire in my heart never learned to fold. Now they see me rise. and they all play blind. But the devil still whispers, take what's mine. Back for blood, I don't need no love. Rain keep pouring, but I rise above. Back for blood, they forgot my name. Now they whisper when they speak my pain. Back for blood, I was born in war. You can't kill what's been here before. Back for blood, no tears, just thugs, no peace sign. Just middle fingers up. Now the smoke thick, but the mind clear. You can feel death close when the time near. Seen homies die young just to live in the post. Now they legends online, but gone like ghosts. Ain't no glory in the game, just scars and chains. They trade pride for fame, I stay in my lane. Every night I count sins, not blessings. Cause God stopped answering all my questions. You talk street, I paved that road. Every deal, every code, every gun I hold. I done seen the church burn, seen the kid cry. Seen his mama praying while the angels lie. Now I cruise slow through a city that changed. Same light, same hate, but the faces rearranged. Don't test, was built from the pain and mud. I'm the storm that returns, back for blood. They took my name, I took it back. They burned my home, I built a trap. They said I failed, I made them remember my revenge born cold. Like a late December, yeah. You can't kill what's born in the dark. You can't silence what's spoke that was scarred. I don't need no love. Rain keep pouring, but I rise above. Back for blood, they forgot my name. Now they whisper when they speak my pain. Back for blood, I was born in war. You can't kill what's been here before. Back for blood, no tears, just thugs, no peace sign, just middle fingers up. Yeah. Don't call it a comeback. I never left. I was just reloading. They sleeping on me, then let the thunder wake them. Back for blood. Yeah. This ain't no fairy tale, homie. Ain't no manuals, no commandments. Just silence, loyalty, and scars that talk louder than words. Welcome to the block. Talk less, move smart, that's the code I keep. Real ones bleed quiet, fake ones too. Ain't no love when they hear repeat. Loyalty is the language the streets still speak. Talk less, move smart, that's the code I keep. Real ones bleed quiet, fake ones too. Ain't no love when they hear repeat. Loyalty is the language the streets still. I was raised by the corners, taught by the gang. Well, look at start war and the lie bring shame. Never brag about moves, keep your mind on the plan. Cause the loudest one talking be the weakest man. See my cousin take 10, he ain't say a word. Kept it solid like steel at the time he served. Taught me early, silence louder than guns. You don't flex your loyalty, you prove it when it's done. Every handshake got weight, every glance got cold. You could die for a sentence, live for a load. So I walk calm, speak slow, eyes steady. Cause when it pops off, it's too late to get ready. We talk less, move smart, that's the code I keep. Real ones bleed quiet, fake ones tweet. Ain't no love when they hear repeat. Loyalty is the language the streets still speak. Talk less, move smart, that's the code I keep. Real ones bleed quiet, fake ones tweet. Ain't no love when they hear repeat. Loyalty is the language the streets still speak. Ain't no medals for a soldier of the block. Only memories of friends who never made it off the spot. I seen brothers trade souls for a little bit of shine. Now they ghosts on the gram, talking like they still divine. Where I'm from, your word means more than your name. One slip of the tongue can set your house aflame. Fake thugs post clips, real ones post bail. I kept my lips zipped when my homie went to jail. They asked me why you quiet, I say cause I've been there. Where loyalty's tested and snakes breathe there. We ain't built for fame, we built for the dark. Where love's a whisper and revenge leaves marks. Don't trust, don't speak, don't speak, don't speak, don't speak, don't blink. That's the Trinity, homie. If you know, you know, you know. Talk less, move smart, that's the code I keep. Real ones bleed quiet, fake ones tweet. Ain't no love when they hear repeat. Loyalty's the language the streets still speaks. Hands dirty but my conscience clean. Every scar remind me what silence means. You can't fake soul, you can't buy peace. Respect ain't cheap, it's earned on these streets. See, I done seen cloud chasers die for likes, turn a message to a meme, turn fear to hype. But real G's don't flex, they strategize. They don't post war stories, they memorialize. I been broke, been hunted, been left to rot. Still I rise like smoke from a smoking Glock. The block, don't forget, it just wasting time. So I pray every night for a peaceful mind. Got nephews looking up to the moves I made, so I tell them stay sharp, but don't lose your grace. Cause the code ain't about killing or fame, it's about respect, don't ever stain a name. Yeah, I'm older now, but the rules don't fade. Still keep my back to the wall, eyes on the shade. You could change your zip code, switch your plate, but the blocks in your veins, you can't escape fate. They say silence is golden, I say it's survival. One wrong sentence can't spark your rival. You wanna last long, then move like smoke. Invisible patient until you provoke. No Instagram captions, no fake apologies. Just quiet moves and real apologies. That's the creed. No gimmick, no act. I talk with my scars and the streets talk back. Yeah, talk less, move smart. That's the code I keep. Real ones bleed quiet, fake ones tweet. Ain't no love when the heat repeat. Loyalty's the language the streets still speak. Ain't no crown for the real, just respect in the dark. Every deal, every scar leaves a mark. If you know, then you know that's how we breathe. No mercy, no lies, that's the code of the block. No bless, no who's hardest, no bless, no bless, that's the code of the block. No bless, no bless, no bless, no bless, no bless, that's the code of the block. It's not about who's hardest, it's about who's realest. Talk less, move smart, bulb less, keep the code. Hey, I got another bar track. Ready to deal, man. Various after meditative hysteria. Lights the chariot. Sign my name, can't turn back. Blood on the contract, soul on the track. Every deal I made left scars on my back. Ain't no refund, only death on the plaque. Sign my name, can't turn back. Blood on the contract, soul on the track. Pray for forgiveness, but the streets don't react. You pay with your life when you owe in the trap. I ain't asked for this pen, but it carved my fate. Signed in the dark where the scars don't fade. Papers bleed and the ink was red. Was it fame I wanted or a life instead? I hear voices laughing, they mocking my choice. Lucifer whispering, but I call it my voice. Every verse I spit is a scream in disguise, but the crowd just cheering don't see my demise. I traded therapy for melody, insanity for legacy. Now I'm chained to the remedy that's killing me steadily. Shh, don't tell me to calm down. The contracts are coughing and I'm locked down. My soul's the currency, games collecting. Every bar's another bill, death's expecting. 9 shots couldn't stop me. I signed and I bled, but the streets want interest. They collect on the dead. I don't walk with the killers, shook hands with the snakes. If you can't pay the toll, then you body the stakes. I seen homies fold for $1 and chain. Judge don't care, system treat us the same. It's survival of the illest, no mercy for the weak. Blood on the paper, that's the language we speak. I came up scarred, but the scars made steel. Even contracts written can't rewrite my wheels. So I ride through the night, paranoia my map. Gotta sleep with one eye where the devil still tap. Sign my name, can't turn back. Blood on the contract, soul on the track. Every deal I made left scars on my back. Ain't no refund, only death on the plaque. Sign my name, can't turn back. Blood on the contract, soul on the track. Pray for forgiveness, but the streets don't react. You pay with your life when you owe in the trap. Yeah, see once you roll the dice, it's set. Ain't no refunds, homie, that's a street bet. Game gon' love you, game gon' eat. Either way you dance to the same old beat. I seen young soldiers try to skip on dudes. Now they pictures hanging on the block with the blues. Me, I just cruise, smoke haze, watch moves. But the contract still calling, you can't refuse. It's the code of the block, gotta honor the pact. Your soul signed over when you stepping on track. Don't whine, don't cry, don't ask where to exit. Cause the only way out is a casket or a sitting. Streets ain't chaos, it's a system designed. Keep the poor signed up, locked in a bind. Prisons full, while the contracts expand. You don't own your masters, they own your hands. Blueprints laid down, corporations invest. They feed off the culture, but they bleed out the rest. So when you think it's just you, remember the fact. Whole hood signed blind, blood on the contract. Blood drips down, it stains the page, no parole. No break from the cage, whispers say, boy, this is what you asked. Every dream got a price, every deal got a sign my name. Can't turn back, blood on the contract, soul on the track. Every deal I made left scars on my back. Ain't no refund, only death on the plaque. Sign my name, can't turn back. Blood on the contract, soul on the track. Pray for forgiveness, but the streets don't react. You pay with your life when you owe in the trap. Sign my name. Pray for forgiveness. Sign my name. Pray for forgiveness. Stacks on the table, diamonds in the light. But I ride with my brothers through the darkest night. Gold can shine, but it fades with the rain. Blood over gold, that's the code we maintain. We was kids on the corner, shoes full of holes, dreaming about cars, heavy change, bank rolls. Mama worked 2 shifts, trying to keep the heat on. We learned early in the game how to keep strong. Shared clothes, split food, same pain in our chest. Every scar that I carry is a family crest. Now we sipping champagne, but I never forget those nights on the block with my brothers. All I get, flashlights, fast money, the streets call your name, but the price of betrayal is eternal shame. I done seen homies fold when the cops came around, dropping names in the dark just to cut time down. But a real soldier knows silence louder than gold. A snitch never breathes easy, his story never told. We bleed together, eat together, win or lose in this life of sin. Loyalty's the only truth. Yeah, stacks on the table, diamonds in the light. But I ride with my brothers through the darkest night. Gold can shine, but it fades with the rain. Blood over gold, that's the code we maintain. No lie, no lie, no lie, no lie. No lie, no lie, no lie. I remember long nights, watching clocks on the wall, thinking freedom ain't real, just a dream too small. But my brothers held me down when the system broke me. Blood don't cost $1, it's the way they showed me. Paper comes quick, then it vanished like smoke. But a bomb built in blood ain't something you broke. We kings without crowns, we soldiers in the storm. Brotherhood the fire, keeping hearts warm. Jewels on the chain, but they heavy on the soul. If you trade your fam for it, you already cold. Rather starve with my crew than feast with snakes. Rather die with my truth than live with fake. Seen mansions fall down, seen empires crumble, but my brother's handshake never let me stumble from the cradle to the grave. Through highs and lows, the blood in our veins is the only thing that shows. Blood don't lie, gold gon' fade. Brothers side by side till we hit the grave. Money in the safe, chains on the neck, but it's loyalty first, always showing respect. Blood don't lie, gold gon' fade. Can't buy trust, that's a price unpaid. In this game full of lies, one truth remains. It's blood over gold that runs through the veins. I seen brothers die young, chasing dollar signs. Empty caskets, broken hearts, left families behind. But the ones who stood strong, they lived through my rhyme. They spirit in the beat, timeless in design. So when temptation calls, I just look at my scars. Every cut is a story, every bruise is ours. The chains on my neck can't replace what we lost. Every coin that I stack comes with a cost. Now the world watch close as the legacy grow. From the block to the stage, from the high to the low, I could drown in the money, but it still ain't enough without the ones I love. It's just glitter and dust. So I raise my glass high to the brothers I trust. For the fallen and the living, this bond is a must. From the LBC corners to the NYC code, we keep one law sacred, blood over gold. Stacks on the table, diamonds in the light. But I ride with my brothers through the darkest night. Gold can shine, but it fades with the rain. Blood over gold, that's the code we maintain. Don't lie, don't lie, don't lie, don't lie, don't lie. Listen, don't lie, don't lie, don't lie. Don't lie. Stacks on the table, diamonds in the light. But I ride with my brothers through the darkest night. Gold can shine, but it fades with the rain. Blood over gold, that's the code we maintain. Money can blind you, jewels can chain you, but blood gon' remind you who you are. When the spotlight dim, when the bank dry up, it ain't the gold that saves you. It's the brother who still picks you up. Blood, always over gold. Bloodline legacy.
Yeah, bloodline legacy, written in red. Streets raise kings, even when they dead. Concrete stories, scars never fade. Respect over fame, that's how we get paid. I was raised with a gun, smoke, kiss the breeze. Block full of warriors, no room for thieves. Old heads told me, boy, watch who you trust. Streets ain't love, it's survival or bust. Graffiti on the walls like scripture of pain. Every tag a memory, every color a name. I carry chains that my OG once wore. Passed down crown when he walked out the door. The blood and scars, funeral nights, we lit candles on the curb. Young G shot down, never spoke his last word. Mama cried heavy, but the street stood still. That's the price when you hustling, playing for real. Blood stains, dry, but the legend gon' stay. Tattooed tears mark the ones that we lay. Every scar etched deep in the code I recite. Only soldiers get remembered, never clowns in the fight. Bloodline legacy, written in red. Streets raise kings, even when they dead. Concrete stories, scars never fade. Respect over fame, that's how we get paid. Nowadays I see them flexing on the gram. Talk about guns, but they never let it blam. Designer clothes, fake chains on their chests. But without respect, you ain't nothing in the West. Rap about money, but you never touch dirt. Never lost a homie, never carried that hurt. You a friend for the week, I'm a king for a life. Street crown heavy, cut sharper than a knife. The code and loyal, I ain't in it for the fame. I don't chase no chart. I'm in it for the block that first gave me my start. If you ride, then you ride, no halfway in. Blood blood out, that's the code we defend. From Watts to Compton, the legacy strong. Every new soldier gotta learn where they belong. West Coast DNA, written deep in my skin. When the wheel stops spinning, my blood still wins. This ain't rap, this a sermon to the lost. Every move I made came with blood and cost. Respect don't come from a check or a chain. It come from survival, outlasting the pain. Bloodline legacy, written in red. Streets raise kings, even when they dead. Concrete stories, scars never fade. Respect over fame, that's how we get paid. To the young ones watching, keep your head in the fight. Don't chase the flash, keep your hustle tight. Remember the names carved deep in the stone. You ain't ever riding if you riding alone. I seen homies rise, I see legacies fall, but the bloodline speak louder than it all. From the block to the booth, we forever gon' reign. Concrete crown built on struggle and pain. Bloodline flow through the alleys and blocks. Clock still ticking, but respect don't stop. When my name fade out, the story remain. West Coast king, carved in the veins. Bloodline legacy, written in red. Streets raise kings, even when they dead. Concrete stories, scars never fade. Respect over fame, that's how we get paid.
Yeah. Streets don't lie. People do. Cold world. Trust is fragile. West Coast stand tall.
Codes broken, trust stolen, streets frozen, still rolling, brothers turn to foes. No warning, loyalty dead, but I'm still storming. Codes broken, trust stolen, streets frozen, still rolling, blood in the dirt, no consoling. Hard on ice, but I'm still holding.
Used to throw gang signs, now they throw shade. Same hands that dapped me up, now pointing blades. Shared meals, same table, same block dreams. Now I see them scheming, breaking all the schemes. We was family. Till the paper got thicker, till the envy hit harder, now the triggers get quicker. Homies turn Judas, smile with a mask. Ride for the moment, but switch up fast. I don't cry, I adapt, that's the code I live. If you fake, you erase, that's the street I give. Still sipping Henny on the curb at night, but I watch every shadow when it cross my sight.
Codes broken, trust stolen, streets frozen, still rolling, brothers turn to foes. No warning, loyalty Loyalty dead, but I'm still storming.
They said day one, but the days went dark. Now it's day 2s, 3s, all snakes in the park. See the hood teach lessons that the schools don't tell, like how a brother turned Judas just to save himself. I seen cousins load clips at their cousin's head. Seen love turn cold over crumbs of bread. So I trust no man, keep my circle tight. If you break that oath, you erase from sight. Still rolling down Crenshaw, sunset glow. But the block's not the same, everybody cutthroat. So I breathe slow, move cold, stand tall. In a world full of fakes, I'ma outlast y'all.
Codes broken, trust stolen, streets stolen, still rolling, blood in the dirt, no consoling. Hard on ice, but I'm still holding.
Remember Lil Drake, he was riding